class. That is not at all required. I think it is completed. Now we'll come to the today's class theory. That is CMOS inverter. CMOS inverter, it looks like this. The diagram is shown in the figure. It has one PMOS and one NMOS devices. Two devices we have in this circuit. So we can see it is a pair of MOS transistors, and both are opposite to each other. One is NMOS and other is PMOS. That is why they are called uh, these complementary MOS transistors. Complementary MOS transistors. So it is called as a CMOS. C means complementary. So complementary MOS transistors means CMOS inverter it is. It acts as a inverter that it's working and all will see. Just you understand its name and how it looks like. So we have one VDD voltage, that is Voicing voltage, we apply here, and it is connect. This terminal is connected to source ground. We have PMOS and NMOS, two devices which are connected in series, and we have one input at their gate terminal, and we have output at their drain terminal. Its source terminal is connected to ground and its source terminal is connected to VDD. So we can say this is common what? It is common source. NMOS is acting as a common source device because source is common here, and here we can see it is acting as a common gate. So that we'll see how it is. It's working and all that we'll understand later. So here we can see for NMOS VGS, it will be G is the gate terminal here. Just I will mention all. Here we can see this is gate terminal, this is gate terminal, and it is gate terminal. These two are gate terminals here. So it's VGS for NMOS, it will be what? VI. We can see for NMOS, VGS will be VI. Okay. And for PMOS, what is VGS here? Can you tell me? What is VGS? That is VI, VGS. VGS we don't write because it is a common gate. That is why we write VSG. That we write it is VSG because gate is common here. So we can see it is VDD minus VI. So this is VSG. So whatever common terminal is there, that with respect to that common terminal, we consider voltage. Like here source is the common terminal, so VGS we are considering, and here gate is the common terminal, that is why we consider it as VSG. So these two are the main things where VSG or VGS. In each and every question, everywhere, we first need to calculate a VGS or VSG in any question. If it is NMOS, VGS we need to find, and if it is PMOS, VSG we need to find. So this is our first priority to calculate. Then only we'll move to other point. So these are the things which are shown in the figure. Now we'll come to next point, that is we'll consider something in CMOS. Suppose we take Vi is 0, that input voltage is 0. In that case, we can get V output will be VDD. How it is? How it is? It is like if Vi is 0, NMOS remains off, means this uh, lower transistor it will be off because it needs VGS voltage, but we have 0 voltage to switch on this. In that case, it cannot be switched on. So that is why it is switched off, right? So if it is switched off, in that case, NMOS remains off and PMOS will be on. Why? Because at the input VSG value, if Vi is 0, VSG value will be VDD, and VDD is far greater than VT. So if it is greater than that threshold voltage, if it is VDD or VSG is greater than threshold voltage, it will definitely get switched on. If it is switched on, in that case, whatever voltage VDD here, it will appear at this terminal, output terminal. So we'll say V output will be VDD in this case. So this is the first case. In this first case, we can say NMOS it is switched off, and the zero current will be there in NMOS, and a PMOS it will be switched on, and so if there is no current, it is switched on. It has voltage whatever it is applied at the source terminal of PMOS. So as a result, we can say VDD that will appear at the output terminal. Or we can see if it is not switched on, one question it may come in your mind that if it is not switched on, then how this voltage appears at this terminal? When it is not switched on, sorry, it is switched on, it is in conduction state, but there is no current. Current is 0, but in that case, it will be acting as a resistor. At low voltage, we have seen it will be acting as a resistor. In that case, we have 0 current, but still it has some resistance. So that if no current through the resistance, it will be acting uh, 0 potential across this. So whatever voltage here it is there, that will appear at the output. So in transistor, if there is no current, it will be acting as a short. So we can see now in the second case, if Vi is VDD at higher voltage, in that case, V output will be 0. From this figure, we can see here how it is. If Vi it is greater than, if it is VDD, that will be greater than VT for NMOS. So NMOS will get switched on. If it is switched on, so whatever voltage at the ground terminal is there, that will appear at the output. Means NMOS will be short circuited. It will act as a short circuit. So in that case, the output voltage will be 0 volt here, whatever I've shown here. And NMOS will be in on condition, and PMOS will remains off, because here if I'll add 0 VDD, then VSG will be 0. If VSG is 0, then it will not get switch on, this PMOS. So it will be acting as a open circuit. So now we can see if input is at a proper level 0 or logic 1. We can see if input, if it is at 0 or at 1, one of the two transistors will be off. We can see here either in 0 case or in VDD case. VDD means it has one value, logic 1. VDD means logic 1. And Vi equal to 0 means logic 0. This is so if it is one of these two cases, one of our two transistors will be in off condition. When Vi is an imperfect logic 0 or logic 1, means it is in between these two values, both the transistors may come into conduction. Means both the transistors transistors will be working and they will be in conducting state. If the logic Vi is not at these two levels exactly, so what are the ranges in which both the transistors will be switched on, that we will understand from the graph which will be there in the next slides. So that we will understand. But if it is at logic 0 or it is at logic 1, definitely one of the transistors will be off and one will be switched on. The value of the input voltage at which both the transistors are in saturation, that is known as threshold voltage of the CMOS inverter. Means in this case both the transistors will be in switch on condition. So that voltage is called threshold voltage for CMOS inverter. So what is that voltage, that we'll also see from the graph. So here, since two transistors are in series, we can see in CMOS inverter we have seen two transistors are in series, so their drain currents must be equal. Definitely, if these two transistors are in series, so whatever drain current it is here, the same drain current will be for this NMOS. So drain current for both will definitely be equal. So, and drain current will flow only when both the transistors are in saturation. So the saturation condition, in that saturation condition, IDSN means NMOS transistor. So IDS for NMOS transistor will be equal to IST for PMOS transistor. So this condition should be satisfied and both transistors should be in saturation, then only this condition will satisfied. So in that case, I'll write Kn, its current equation divided by 2 in saturation. This current equation in saturation will be VGS n minus VTN whole square. That will definitely be equal to Kp divided by 2 VSG P minus VTP whole square. It will be like this. So this condition should satisfied. In this condition, it will be satisfied only in one case, when both the transistors are in saturation and at a particular voltage it will be. So now from this we can write it Kn VGS in this case, that will be equal to Vi from the graph, from the diagram only we can see, and Vtn it will be like this only, that will be square divided by Kp into Vsg in this case is how much, Vdd minus Vi minus mod of Vtp whole square. So we can see from this we can take square root of both, so we'll get a Kn divided by Kp and Vi minus Vtn is equal to Vdd minus Vi plus mod of Vtp. This will be like this. Okay. So I think it is clear up to here. So now we'll take Vi from both sides. We'll take on one side, that Vi will take common and it will be 1 plus square root Kn divided by Kp, and it is equal to Vdd minus VTP, it is not minus, it will be minus minus. This is minus, it is not plus. That mistakenly I have written this. Mod of VTP and minus, and this minus will come plus here, and VTN square root Kn divided by Kp. So from this we can find out Vi. Vi expression we can write down here. What is that expression here? Vi is equal to VDD minus mod of VTP, and we can say plus VTN square root Kp, sorry, Kn divided by Kp is in square root divided by 1 plus square root Kn divided by Kp. This is the condition. Now, this is called threshold voltage. Threshold voltage for CMOS. We have this. Okay, so this is the expression. So if two MOS transistors, if they are identical, we can say if MOSFETs are identical, in that case what will happen? Mod of VTP will be equal to VTN and Kp will be equal to Kn. If these two conditions are satisfied, in that case we will get what? If this, then Vi will be equal to VDD divided by 2. This is my final condition. So these two transistors, they will be operated in the saturation when Vi is equal to VDD by 2, and these two should be identical. If there is a change, then we have Vi something else. It will be either greater or less than this VDD by 2. So little changes will be there. So those changes we will see by transfer characteristic of CMOS inverter. So first, the main thing is we need to remember this threshold voltage, VDD minus VTP modulus plus VTN square root Kn divided by Kp divided by 1 plus square root Kn divided by Kp. That we can remember, and we can remember the remaining things also. So now we'll come to the main topic, that is transfer characteristic of MOS. CMOS inverter. So this is the actual way in that we'll understand its working. So transfer characteristic means the plot of Vs versus Vi. Means Vi we applied, V output is the V not applied is the output voltage. So the graph between these two will be characterized as transfer characteristic. If these two MOSFET are identical, in that case Kn will be equal to Kp. That we already know, and remaining things we'll understand from this graph how it is changing. Vi, we are starting from 0 and we are moving to VDD. Up to VDD we are applying. So in this case, if we see this case, in this case we have NMOS that will be off. That I already told you in the first slide only. When Vi it is 0, in that case the VGS for NMOS will be 0. So in that case, it is not crossing its threshold voltage. So NMOS will be in off condition. And PMOS will be in triode region. It means it is in it is acting in the uh, ohmic region, we can say. It is not in saturation, or it will be acting as a resistor only. So PMOS will be in triode region. So here we can see PMOS will be in triode region. It is we can say it is in saturation. Sorry, that triode is not ohmic. It is in saturation. So NMOS will be off and PMOS will be in triode region. So it is like this. So now we are increasing Vi and it is at Vt. If it is at Vt, then our output will be at A and it is almost VDD. So if we are increasing further Vi, then output it will be getting decreased. So in this range, in this bending range, what will happen? Our one transistor, it will come from triode region to ohmic region, and our NMOS transistor, it will move from cutoff region to saturation region directly. So it is happening like this. These two transistors, one will be in ohmic region and other will be in saturation region. It will enter into saturation region directly from cutoff, and it is from saturation to ohmic region. Means it is not in switch off mode and it is in saturation. That we'll see with the some points. What are those points? Here I have written, and these points will be correlated with this diagram. So one by one I will take and I will correlate. PMOS operates in triode region for Vi is equal to VDD by 2. How? It is in triode region PMOS that I have shown here. It is in triode region when Vi is less than VDD by 2. And this is possible only when Kn equal to Kp, that both are identical. So PMOS operates in triode region for Vi is less than VDD by 2. NMOS operates in triode region for Vi is greater than VDD by 2. Here we can see in this VDD by 2 greater, in that case PMOS will be in this NMOS will be in triode region, and less than this NMOS will be in triode region. So VDD by 2 is our main threshold point. So that we'll understand from this. And third, that both MOSFET operates in saturation for Vi is equal to VDD by 2. That is from the graph only, from the diagram only you can see. And if one MOSFET is in triode region, the other MOSFET will be either in saturation or in off condition. So that we can see here, that if it is in diode, then other MOSFET will be either in saturation or in off condition. Here we can see. If it is in triode, it will be in saturation. If it is in triode, it will be in off condition. So this D point, if we after D point we can see one, if it is in triode, other will be in either in saturation or in off condition. So here we can see when input is stable or it is at a 0 or 1, power dissipation will be 0 because there is no current. If current is not 0, is completely 0, then there is no power dissipation. Power dissipation calculated when inputs are stable is known as static power dissipation. If our inputs are stable, in that case, if there is any power dissipation, that power is called what? Static power dissipation. Static power dissipation. When Vi changes from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, both transistors come into conduction and non-zero power dissipation takes place. So that power dissipation is known as dynamic power dissipation in this case, because there is a transition from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. In that case, we have dynamic power dissipation. These are two types of power dissipation here. So I think we understood the concept of power dissipation, that is dynamic or static. So this here we can see from this diagram, from here to this point there is a change of state for both transistor. One transistor which was in cutoff, that is NMOS, it is entered into the saturation, and PMOS, it is entered into ohmic region. Okay, and here we can see the 2 points V and C. These 2 points we have. In between these 2 points, our both transistors will be in saturation. So if both transistors are in saturation, then complete current IDS, it will be flowing from both the transistors, and there will be a maximum power dissipation, and there will be a dynamic power dissipation in this case. In remaining cases, we have seen it is a static power dissipation. So after this C point, if we move further, we'll see NMOS, it will enter into triode region. See, we can see it is started from off condition, it was entered into saturation, and it is in saturation, and now it is entered into triode region. So this is NMOS. In this triode region, and then it is in triode region here, NMOS. And the PMOS will be opposite to like this NMOS. It will start from off region from here, or we can say from start here. It was in triode region, then it will enter into ohmic region, then it will be in saturation region, then it will be in saturation region, and it will be in here finally off condition. So both transistors from both sides, they are symmetrically approaching, but at the center the both transistors will be in saturation. Beyond these 2 points, one of the transistor will be in ohmic region and other will be in saturation, and beyond these 2 points A and D, we have one transistor will be in off condition and other transistor will be in triode region. So it will be like this. So now I think it is done, it is clear. So that same graph, same diagram, that circuit I have taken here. In the digital circuit, the load is considered to be capacitive load in digital circuits. But in case of analog circuits, so in analog circuit, the load, it will be considered as resistive load. Digital circuits, it means we have either 0 or 1 variation, 2 states we have. But in analog circuits, we have many states. In that case, we take load as a resistor. But in digital circuits, we have load as a capacitor. So that capacitor we will keep at the output. So since voltage VDD is present across CL, this voltage complete VDD, it will present at across CL. So if it is present at across CL, the energy stored in the load capacitor, in this capacitor, will be CL VDD by VDD square divided by 2. This will be the energy stored by this capacitor. When Vi it is changing. This Vi, it was at 0. Now it is changing from 0 to 1. The load capacitor discharges through NMOS because it got charged at a VDD level. When it is changed to 0 to 1, this will get switched on. If it is switched on, we have voltage VDD here. So this will be connected to this VDD, this capacitor. This capacitor will discharge through this NMOS. Current will flow in this direction here. So it will discharge through this NMOS, and gradually the output voltage reduces to 0. That was VDD in first case, and it is reduced to 0. During discharge interval, the energy stored in the capacitor CL will be dissipated by the NMOS transistor. Whatever energy it is stored, that was CL VDD square divided by 2, that will be dissipated by NMOS transistor. Now in second case, we will consider that V output is at 0 and Vi is at 1. Second condition. So if input is changed from 1 to 0, the PMOS transistor comes into the conduction and load capacitor CL charges through PMOS transistor, and V output increases exponentially from 0 to VDD. So during charging interval, the energy drawn from the supply will be equal to this VDD integration of IDT, that will be VDD into Q. That is the energy drawn from the supply, or we can say this energy, it will be something like CL VDD square. At the end of the charging interval, the capacitor voltage reaches VDD. The energy drawn from the supply, that will be total energy, that is CL VDD by VDD square. So when capacitor is in fully charged condition, the energy stored in the capacitor will be CL VDD square divided by 2, and the remaining energy CL VDD square divided by 2 will be dissipated in PMOS transistor, because this Cl, it got charged through PMOS transistor. So half energy this capacitor it will store, and half energy will be dissipated by this PMOS transistor. But the total energy supplied by the supply will be Cl VDD square. So in one time period of input, we can say the energy dissipated in NMOS and PMOS transistors will be Cl VDD square, because half energy will be dissipated by PMOS and half energy will be dissipated by NMOS. So the total energy dissipated will be Cl VDD square. The energy dissipated in 1 by f seconds. 1 by f seconds. If f is the frequency, even 1 by f second, it will be CLVDD square. So energy dissipated in 1 second, it will be CLVDD square into f. And this energy will be the dynamic power dissipation. And this direct expression was asked in one of the ISRO paper, ISRO exam, where they asked the expression for dynamic power dissipation in a capacitor. So that was this expression, CLVDD square into F. So in that case, we can say the power dissipated in one cycle will be directly proportional to the frequency also in 1 second. So this we should understand. The energy dissipated in 1 second, that is also called power dissipation. Energy per unit time, that is called power dissipation. So from these expressions, we just understand the things. How capacitor it is charged, it is discharged, how much energy it is stored, how much energy is dissipated by NMOS, how much energy is dissipated by PMOS. So while charging, PMOS will be in conduction mode, and while discharging, NMOS will be in conduction mode. So half energy is dissipated by PMOS and half energy will be dissipated by NMOS, the total energy dissipated by CLVDD square. So in a cycle, in a second we have this much energy, in a cycle we have this CLVDD square. So this we should understand how it is. So I think it is clear up to this point that dynamic power dissipation, it is this much. So this was the CMOS inverter. In this, we can see different type of questions like this. We have a lot of questions came in the GATE exam. So I think if we have little idea about the basics of MOSFET, we can use that concept, that idea, and we can calculate the things whatever they are asking in the question. So now in this question, we can see in a MOS inverter, this is a MOS inverter, this is PMOS and this is NMOS. PMOS can be expressed by this figure, and it is indicated by this. So here we have a circle. That circle shows it is PMOS, and if there is no circle, it shows NMOS. So we have 5 volt, it is biasing voltage, and input voltage is 2.5 volt, and it is looking like this. So what they wanted to ask, if VT they have given VTN and VTP modulus, that is 1 volt, the current I, sorry, the current I is in microamperes. What is this current? That they wanted to know. So can you try this question by yourself and give me answer quickly? It is very simple question. If you try, you will get, I think, easily. You know the basic concepts. So you just let me know the answer. Just tell me what is the answer for this question quickly. Concept. So anyone who doesn't know, who didn't get the answer, please ask me. Here it is very simple. We can see Vi, that is equal to 2.5 volt, and it is equal to 5 by 2, which we can write it is VDD by 2. If it is this condition, in that case, our both transistors will be in saturation. If it is so, both transistors are in saturation, in that case, IDS for any one transistor, that will be equal to Kn by 2 VGS minus VT and whole square. So Kn they have already given, that is 40 by 2, and it is VGS, it is 2.5, and VT, that is 1 volt whole square. So it is 20 into 1.5 whole square. So it is 225, and then multiplication, that is 45 microamps. This is the concept. So simple it is, but it came in 2007. So we'll have questions like this only in the exam. So now we'll see another one, that is this is also one of the important questions. Here two transistors which are identical, or these are NMOS transistors. Okay, M1 and M2 are connected as shown below. V bias is selected so that the transistors are in saturation. So if we have both transistors in saturation, the equivalent transconductance of the pair is defined as di out divided by dv in is equal to the overall transconductance, equivalent transconductance. So we know what is this here. Gm, it is equal to di out divided by dv in. This is they have given. I can write di out divided by di into di divided by dv in. Di out divided by di. I out means the I out means I. So di out equal to di, that is 1 into di divided by dv in. Di divided by dv in means it is gm1. This its transconductance means its current divided by its voltage, means this di divided by dv in, that is here gm1. So that is gm1. So that is into 1. So gm overall will be equal to gm1. So in this circuit, the M1 is in common source configuration, that I already told. It is common source configuration, and this is common gate configuration. M1 is in common source and M2 it is in common gate configuration. So the interconnection of the common source and common gain configuration, that is known as cascode connection. So this connection is known as cascode. Means one it is in source is common, and in other it is gate is in common. The same diagram it can be possible in BJTs. So cascade, cascode, two type of configurations are there. In cascade, both are in series, and cascode, that look, one it is in series and one is in parallel. So I think this you understood, it is cascode connection. So this is also the GATE previous year GATE question. It is I think GATE 2008 question, we can say. GATE 2008. So one more question, see, we can see here. This is one of the important questions. You just try this question, and it's a diagram. It will be like this. You make just this diagram, and then I'll show you question. You this diagram you just note down. Okay, tell me answer. Tell me answers. For first, what is the answer? Okay, sorry, this diagram you have done. So the question now, this is the question. You just see that question and then answer this. Whatever shown in the figure, based on that, just answer these two questions. It is important, but it is logical. In first case, I'll see if Vg it is 0, in that case, nothing will happen. In that case, my NMOS will be off and PMOS will be on. NMOS it is in cutoff and PMOS will be in triode. So that is different case. For a small increase in Vg beyond 1 volt means they said Vg is just greater than 1 volt. Means just greater than 1 volt means it is just greater than Vt. Vt is the threshold voltage, that is 1 volt. So it is just greater than, or we can say it is just greater than means it is 1.1 volt. Vg is like 1.1 volt. That we can understand. So for this, my PMOS, for this, my PMOS, yes, okay, I'll tell you now. PMOS it will be in ohmic, and one is in saturation. That is correct. Okay, so now my PMOS VSG will be equal to 5 minus 3, that is 2 volt. And this 2 volt is sufficiently greater than Vt. Means it is greater than VSG, it is far greater than Vt, we can say. So in this case, PMOS, it will be in on condition, and it will be in PMOS, it is in on condition, and it's we can say RSD for PMOS will be small. It is very small. If we come to NMOS, in this case, VGS is just greater than VT. Just means it is like 1.1 volt. So in this case, it is at transient state. It is in transient state means it is at the verge of conduction only. NMOS, it is not fully conductive, and it is NMOS, it is at verge of conduction. If it is at verge of conduction, its drain to source resistance RDS N, that will be large. It was small and it is large. So I can show you this by this diagram. Here I can I have B output here. I have 5 volt here, and these two resistances are there. So it is RSDP, and this is RDSN. So if it is small, this is very small. If it is small, then VSD for P, it will be 0 volt almost. And if it is large, then all voltage will drop across this, and in that case VDSN, it will be 5 volt. That whatever voltage it is there, it will appear here and it is here. So now from this, for PMOS, if we say it's SDP, that is less than VSGP minus VT, means it is zero almost. Here I have shown it is zero almost. That zero, it is 5 minus, sorry, it is not, VSG is not 5, it is VSG is how much? VSG, it is 2 volt, which we calculated earlier. Here we calculated VSG, it is 2 volt. 2 minus 1. It means 0, it is less than 2 minus 1. 1, that is 1 volt. So it is means it is correct one. So it is correct one. In this case, VST is less than VSG minus VT. It means it is the case of triode region. This condition is satisfied, it means this is the case of triode region. So our PMOS will be in triode region, and our NMOS, it will be in, suppose it is in saturation. So for this, VDSN must be greater than VGS minus VT. VGSN. So VGSN, it is how much? It is VGS. In this case, VGS, it is S is 0, VG is that is 1, greater than 1, little greater than 1. So that is, we can say it is 1.1, we assumed. So 1.1 minus 1 means it is 0.1, greater than 0.1. Yes, VDSN, we calculated it is VDD, or it is 5 volt. So 5 is greater than 1, it means this condition is satisfied. It means our transistor, it is in saturation, and this condition says saturation condition. So this condition says saturation condition, it means my NMOS is in saturation and my this PMOS will be in triode region. So this is, in this way we can approach, we can say one transistor is in which region and other is in which region. So based on this, we can answer our first question, that is they have asked here. So now second is calculate output voltage. V output for VG is 1.5 volt. Now VG, I will take 1.5 volt for second case. So if it is 1.5 volt, in that case, two MOSFETs are in series, hence their current will be same. So it is 1.5 volt, or we can say if it is, we can take 2 volt, then in that also one is in triode and other is in saturation. Both are in series, so both current will be same. ISD triode region will be equal to IDS saturation region here. So this triode region current, what is this? Mu P C oxide divided by 2, sorry, no, in this case no divided by 2, C oxide into W by L into VSG minus VTP modulus into VSD minus VSD whole square divided by 2. This is will be equal to mu n C oxide by 2 W by L VGS minus VTP Tn whole square. All values I can keep. I'll say W by L will be cancelled out. Mu and mu P, these will be cancelled out. There is no problem in this. So here it is 2 VSG minus this is 1 volt. And VSD is how much? VSD. In this case, it will be S means 5 volt and D means V output. Sorry. Minus VSD 5 minus V output whole square divided by 2. That will be equal to VGS, that is 1.5, and this is 1 by 2 minus 1 whole square. So it is 2 minus 1, that is VSG is how much? This is 1 into 5 minus V output minus 5 minus V output whole square divided by 2. That is equal to 1 by 2 into 0.5 square. So here we can multiply. Okay, less space we have, so okay, no problem. This question we can escape this.
Sir?
Here we, yes.
Can we not use a direct equation for ohmic region wherein we will not be having minus VDS square by 2?
Minus VDS square?
By 2 will not be there, right, sir, in ohmic region?
In ohmic region, this in ohmic region we have VSD square divided by 2 definitely. Because VSD it is small, so we cannot ignore this. What is your question exactly? I didn't understand.
Sir, in ohmic region, you are given an equation that IDS is equal to Kn into VGS minus VT into VDS, because VDS square by 2 will be very small and it can be negligible.
Yes, that assumption we can take. Okay, but in this case, if we take that assumption, that value of the output, it will vary little bit. We want exact value of V output. So sometimes we cannot ignore that term. We have to take that complete term so that we will get exact value. Sometimes we can ignore those. So we will do that. That comparison also I'll show you how much difference will be there. So that difference, if you understand, you will see that it is not that much bigger difference, but it will be there will be a little difference. Okay, that we wanted to find out.
Okay.
So yes. So 10 minus 2 V naught, that we will multiply by 2 minus 5 minus V naught whole square and is equal to 0.5 whole square. If we calculate from this That quadratic equation will get 8V naught. Directly I am writing minus 15 by 0.25 is equal to 0. If we calculate V output, we will have the value is that is 4.866 that we will get. And suppose if we ignore that old one, what we will get? 2. This 2 will be multiplied here. 2 into 5 minus V naught equal to 0.5 square. That we can see. 2 into 5 minus V naught equal to 0.5 whole square. So it is 10 minus 2 V naught is equal to 0.25. This is. So 2 V naught is equal to 10 minus 0.25. So V naught is equal to 9.75 divided by 2. So how much we are getting? 4.8, and here it is 1 means 7 and 5. See, there is a very small difference, 4.866 and it is 4.875. So it is a very small difference or little difference. But in the question, sometimes they will ask you, you write the answer up to 3 decimal points. So if they are asking question like this, write the answer up to 3 decimal points, then you have to take this term into consideration. If they are not asking like that, take the values up to 3 decimal points. If they are not asking like that, you can take directly this answer. This is the correct one. But if they are asking, in most of the questions, sometimes they are asking that write the answer up to 3 decimal points. So your answer will be this one is the correct answer, because there is a little difference between this and this, up to 3 decimal points. Last 2 decimal points are changed. So that is why we need to take this one. I think you understood the main concept. Values are almost same, but it's a little difference that we need to understand. In the exam only, if based on the question only we can answer, otherwise no need. So I think it is understood, and it is so simple. If we understand, if we follow the procedure, we'll get answers correctly. Okay, so I think you understood this, how it is looking like, how it is very. So now we'll see next question. We have lot of questions like this. If possible, I will take 1 or 2 questions from the recent GATE papers, so that you will understand the basic concepts also. These days, how they are asking questions. Okay, so now we'll see this question. In the circuit given, and most transistors have mu and C oxide, that is 1 milliampere. Okay, so in the question that I have not changed this value, it is not 1, it is 100 actually, milliamps per volt square. It is not 1, it is 100. Just make little change. So we have all these values. So what they want Vx. Vx means this V output, it is the same. So for M1, we'll answer this for this transistor. We'll see VGS1. It is M1. So VGS1, that will be equal to Vx, because this S is 0, Vg is Vx, so it is Vx. So VGS 1 minus VT, that will be Vx minus 1, or VDS1 will be equal to Vx also. This VDS1, this one. This is the drain, this is source. So this is also Vx. So from this, if we see VDS1, it is greater than VGS minus VT. If it is greater than VGS minus VT, VGS1 minus VT, it means this is a condition of saturation. It means M1 is in saturation. Now we'll come to for M2. For M2, if we see VGS2, that is equal to G is at 5 volt and S is at Vx. So 5 minus Vx it is. And VGS2 minus VT is how much? That is 5 minus Vx minus 1. That is equal to 4 minus Vx. Okay. And in the same case, what we will do? VDS2, that is equal to VDS2, this. So D is the drain here, that is 6 volt, and S is, that is Vx. So 6 minus Vx it is. So here we can see VDS2, it is greater than VGS2 minus VT. If this condition satisfied, it means it is the case of saturation also. So means both transistors are in saturation. Our first aim is to calculate whether the transistor is in saturation or in triode region. In which region they are working, they are operating. That operation of the region we need to understand. Here just take here. Okay, now we'll come. Both are in saturation, then in that case IDS1 will be equal to IDS2. If it is this mu and C oxide divided by 2 into W by L, VGS1 or VGS2, VGS1 minus VT whole square is equal to mu n C oxide divided by 2 W by L VGS2 minus VT whole square. So all this will get cancelled. All are identical. So it is 4. Sorry, this is not cancelled. This is different. This is 1. This is 1. This is 2. This is 2. So 1 in 1 it is 1. And this is Vx minus 1 whole square. This will be equal to 4. And it is VGS1 is Vx. It is not Vx, it is 4 minus Vx. And it is minus 1. VGS2 minus VT, it is 4 minus 1. It is 0. That is not there. Nothing. So here if we take square and everything, that will be 16 minus px square minus, that is 8 px, and it is equal to vx square plus 1 minus 2vx. 3vx square minus 30vx plus 63 is equal to 0. So from this, if we calculate Vx, that will be equal to 7 volt and 3 volt. 7 volt and 3 volt. Two values we got from this Vx. Now we have to understand which one is the correct value here. Vx is 3 volt or Vx is 7 volt. Suppose if we take Vx is 7 volt. 7 volt if we take here, we have VDD 6 volt only and we can get 7 volt. Is it possible? No. So Vx cannot be 7 volt. Here Vx cannot be 7 volt. It cannot be greater than the biasing voltage. So Vx will be equal to 3 volt only. That is the condition. So with the given condition only, we can understand what is the output Vx. That is 3 volt here we got. So likewise, we can solve any type of question that is looking like difficult, but it is not that much difficult. Only the understanding and applying the concepts properly and in a proper way will get all answers. So I think you are clear with all these concepts. We have some more questions. We have little time, so we can complete. Here, see, this question you just try by yourself. It is very simple. Just try and tell me answers quickly. Quickly answer. Should not take this much time because you have practiced a lot. And keep calculator with you at all time. Anything, any answers? Any answers? Quickly, should not take this much time. So simple it is. Long back in FATs, I told this CMOS or FATs, they are having reverse bias at the gate terminal, due to which this resistance reverse bias case, it is very high, so there is a negligible IG current. If it is negligible IG current, so whatever current it is coming from VDD through this 280 kilo ohm, it will be coming to this 160 kilo ohm. Means this voltage, it is divided at this point. So why voltage division rule VG will be equal to 160 K divided by 160 plus 280 into 10 volt. So 1600 divided by 280. So 4034 440. So 1600 divided by 440, it means it is almost 3.636 volt will get. 3.636 volt. So this is my VG. If VG is 0, this VGS is 0, S is 0. So VGS will be equal to, just 1 minute, 0.64. No, it is almost correct. Answer is 0.669 milliamps. So let's see how much. VGS is equal to VG minus VS. So VG is how much? 3.636 minus VS 0, that is 3.636 volt. So now I can write IDS will be equal to KNY2 square root VGS plus VT whole square. Calculate 0.5 by 2, 3.636 minus 2 whole square. So from this, if we calculate final value, 0.669 milliamps. This is the correct answer. Just check some little basic things you just missed out. That is why you got little deviated answer. But it is correct. Almost your approach is correct. So I think we understood this IDS. It is not S1, it is IDS because only one transistor we have. It is IDS. Now we can get VDS by applying this KVL in the output circuit. VDS is equal to VDD minus IDRS. IDRD. So VDD is 10 volt minus ID is 0. 10 minus 0.66, 0.669 milliamps into RD is how much? 10K. So this is 10 minus 6.69. 6.69 overall. So we'll get something. That is the 3.308 volt. So power dissipation will be VDS minus IDS. That is equal to 2.21 milliwatt. So here we are getting the power dissipation also. So these three terms they have been asked in the question, that IDS, VDS and power dissipation in the MOSFET. So all these terms we got and we answered. So I think it is done. And there will be a question also at the end. This is the question, this type of question I have already taken in the previous classes, and it is little twisted, but just try to answer this, or if you try by yourself this question at home. So what is this? An N plus polysilicon gate MOS device fabricated on P type substrate. So if it is a P type substrate, so N MOS device it is. Having Na is 5 into 10 to the power 16 atoms per centimeter cube. SiO2 thickness is 100 angstrom and SiO2 layer contain 4 into 10 to the power 10 ions per centimeter square. So what is they wanted to know is calculate maximum minimum capacitance. So that you can calculate only when you know the maximum depletion layer. So first we need to calculate WD max is equal to square root 2 epsilon into 2 phi f divided by ENA. So if you keep all the values in here, we'll get but phi f we need. Phi f is how much? It is Vt ln of Na divided by Ni. From this, if we do, we can get this value 0.391. And this value, if we keep all the values here, what we will get? 0.014 centimeter, 142 centimeter. Okay, so this is our one part. Second part, I think I solved all the questions based on this concept. You just try by yourself. If you have still some doubts, still if you have doubts, you can ask me in the next class or in the group also. So at any time, anywhere, you can ask questions. So this is a straightforward question. This type of questions I've already taken and discussed in the class. So I think you must be confident with this and all values. So this type of questions we have already done. I think you try by yourself at home and let me know if you get correct answers. I'll share with you remaining answers here. So this is what I wanted to discuss in today's class. And in the next class it will be a one topic. This is a little bigger topic, but I will finish it in the next class mostly. Anything which I need to take, which I'll feel that is good one, or that is important for the gate point of view, I'll share with you all the concepts related to that. So I think I try to cover up all the concepts. I should not miss any concept which is important for the exams. So based on the previous year questions and all, I taken questions in the class and theory in the class. So that's all for today's class. And in the next class, you just try to solve all the remaining answers here and get the answers and compare those answers with my answers, which I'll share in the group, or if you'll ask, I'll share in the group. Otherwise, I'll discuss all this in the next class. Just I'll take 2-3 minutes. Otherwise, now also I can do, but I want you to solve and apply your minds, and you do it by yourself. Still, you will get questions and doubts. I'll be there to solve. Okay. Till then, bye. Take care. Last class will be the almost last class for the subject, so I'll be closing after that. So now, thank you. Bye. Take care. Good night.